Whipped around to Deshaun Stevens. Extra pass. Brown. Time to shoot. And it's true.
We've seen a lot of ball screens early here for the Toros. Remember yesterday, Vanguard struggled in middle third actions with Cal State San Bernardino, so you saw that early. So they made a counter, the Toros did with the Spain action. Vanguard guarded it well. This time it was just continuity of the ball screens and getting a switch. Pop Cisse left his man for no reason. No X out on the backside, no communication.
Here is Cisse met by Sanders. Not on the shot clock here for the blue and gold. Down to 5, down to 4. Hallen trying to create an ounce of space, gets it off. No good, missing everything. It's a shot clock violation.
Really good defense there by the Toros. And teams are going to have a choice to make when guarding Pop Cisse. They can either sag off him and treat him as a non-shooter, or you could pressure him up and make him a decision maker. That time Sanders chose the latter and pressuring him up and make sure he couldn't get any rhythm in his dribble handoffs.
Sanders, but he's the player who has that one-on-one ability, and he makes mincemeat of Pop Cisse. Caught in two minds. Is he driving? Is he shooting? And it's a pure one from 17 feet out.
If Cisse doesn't step up here early, it's going to be a long night for Vanguard defensively because there's no depth at the 5 position because Sammy Howland is out due to injury once again tonight. So if you have to go small against a stronger Sanders, watch out.
Hook shot, Cisse rolls around the cup. Rebound, Dominguez.
Not mad at that, though. You got to play aggressive to at least return the favor to make sure that Sanders can't rest on defense and gear up all of his energy on offense.
Shakes the drive. Nice slip pass down low. And a foul on Cisse on the late contest.
Every possession, Sanders has had a touch. Do you think that's a surprise? Dominguez Hills must have saw something yesterday because they are going right at Pop Cisse. Coach Soliday and company have a decision to make here early.
As we are finally back underway.
And a new 5 for Vanguard, and they needed that to change the pace. And, of course, you bring Boogie Ujidugele off the bench. That's a spark plug. That was the role he played last year. And now you have Devin Carson and Dylan Swills getting their first look this year.
Game for Vanguard. Sanders going to work on Frawley. The help defense from Swills. He rolls around the cup and drops down to Ujidugele.
Got lucky. Frawley, we talked about yesterday, put on a lot of muscle in the offseason, so he can play the stretch 5. However, that's still a tall task to try to guard Sanders in this spot. But now, if you're Vanguard, you got to put Sanders in a lot of motion because Frawley, his conditioning is pretty high. This is a guy who ran track at a high level and cross country in high school. Matter of fact, he won state.
Open man is Brown. Can't make him pay. Boothman at the back iron, and it's picked up by Carson.
Beautiful box out by Carson, but the problem remains at large, which is how do you lose a guy in transition that quickly? And then you notice Coach Soliday didn't waste any time getting Jace Allen off the floor. He did the same thing yesterday. A couple turnovers from Jace Allen. He said, no, I'm going back to the veteran steady hand presence in Bryson Metz.
To Hallen. Going downhill, goes right at Cheatham.
That's the beauty of having a guy like Aaron Powell. When your offense isn't really working for you, who do you call? A guy who can go win in a one-on-one game. But they really did get bailed out right there. Too much standing on the weak side, watching action develop. And the funny part about that is if you try to watch action and hope it develops, you all find yourself standing and no action develops.
First Vanguard field goal in nearly 4 minutes. It's Sanders, poked away by Swillis, and lets it go out of play. Oh, did he touch it?
Thought he might have caught his foot, if anything, but official was right on top of it, had a better look than us.
And the Shatsman at the far end.
So interesting, Vanguard's riding Dylan Swillis here right now in the early going. He's the one whose shot hasn't really been falling. They're going back to TC, Tony Colley.
Mets will bring it up. Tries to dart past Lynn, who covers well.
Look at him, standing. No one has moved. Tony Colley has not moved from his spot.
Lynn squares off against Metz. The pick from Stevens. Lynn goes straight to the cup.
So that's a really good action there by the Toros. Understanding that Vanguard's trying to deny that wing, so guess what? You just screen your own guy into him. It's a natural step-up pistol action.
And J.J. Johnson, Vanguard just have not quite found the answers in the offense.
This is the Dominguez Hills defense from last year. The defense that was second in the CCAA at 70.1 points per game allowed. This is what we're seeing here. It's tough, it's united, it's together, and Vanguard isn't doing themselves any favor by having terrible weak side movement. Confusion again. Look, they just wasted 6 seconds dribbling in the same spot.
8 on the shot clock. Vanguard give it away. Too strong. Rebound. Lynn goes up off glass, and Lynn's got another offensive rebound.
This looks nothing like the Vanguard team from yesterday. Lynn just shoved Eric Howland out of the way, just wanted it more.
Carson driving past Toro to Metz in the corner. He's trying to do it by himself, doing what he can. Bryson Metz now 5 points and counting.
Yeah, that was the first time Vanguard had success against Dominguez Hills' ice on the defense, because the drop coverage by Promise wasn't there in time, and that allowed Devin to drive to the baseline and be able to see that drip pass with ease. Look at Vanguard. Look at both these teams from downtown, a combined 4 for 21. But here's your ball game right here. If you're not getting it done from downtown, what are you going to do in the paint, right? Dominguez Hills 14-4 on paint points. Cal State Dominguez Hills had so much success icing the ball screens, and that really just threw Vanguard off from the beginning, and they never really recovered from that. So I expect during the break, there was a lot of talk about trying to work out of the middle third ball screens a lot more this half. And not only that, get the weak side movement going, because, I mean, none of this matters if you're just going to stand and watch and let all these athletes just time up these interceptions.
Tries to drive on the Euro step, but it's an offensive foul.
Heck of a job there by the Toros, inducing them into a charge. That's why sometimes when guys get blown by, they give up on the play. I would actually encourage them to stay on the hit, because now if he tries to split you and he leans into you, you can pick up an offensive foul there, but also you're literally telling your teammate, hey, get right there, because I'm going to send him right to you, and he has nowhere else to go. A really good job. That's a team charge, really, for the Toros. So remember what we talked about earlier, Coach Becker, he makes everything look the exact same. They've been running this flex action all night. See what the counter is.
Stevens at the nail. Loses his footing. Did Boogie pull the chair?
Yes, he did. Terrific. He's done that twice now, in particular on Stevens. And that was, I guess that was my answer. They've been running the flex action. They reverse the ball instead of setting a rip screen, clear out and get to an isolation with Stevens.
Here comes Colin. He throws one down. 10-point game. Boogie takes a big slip, and
so this is interesting, okay? Because Vanguard wanted to save their timeout, because the clock runs until we're inside of a minute on a made basket, right? So they were trying to point out the wet spot to get the clock to stop so they could set their defense. The rest were smart to that and initially didn't want to call it, so Boogie then went full-on wipeout to be like, you have to stop the game. That is high-level play from the bench to the officials to Boogie, because at that point, the refs have to stop it. We saw some terrific basketball, especially the performance by Point Loma today, where they shot the lights out in here. So that's scary news for Vanguard, considering Point Loma does have to come back here later on. You're hoping that he would mess with the rims a little bit before then. But Vanguard gets a chance to turn this around quick with the day off tomorrow and practice on Monday before the game Tuesday.
we're playing, as we mentioned, against Stanton here inside the Free Center. 7:30 p.m. opening tip-off. Trying to get back to winning ways. Shaking off some early season rust. Luckily, there's a lot of season left. That will do it, however, for this PacWest CCAA crossover tournament. For myself, Jared Rowan, on behalf of J.J. Johnson and the entirety of the Vanguard Athletics crew, we thank you so much for taking the time to be with us. We hope that you enjoyed, and we hope to catch you next time on the Vanguard Sports Network. Farewell and good night.